I will copy and paste some code from my GitHub repository at this stage. This is actually a very simple code. You can also say that it is just a rule for the Django framework. All of this is actually similar to the fields that we defined inside the registration form class. I will share my Git repository link in the description box, so that you can use this code. If you look closely, you will see that the attribute properties here are almost the same. The username, password1 and password2 fields are similar to the definition of the email, fastname and lastname fields, and their attributes are similar. Now let's do some work in the view file, where we will save our registration data and implement some logic. If we look at the login form implementation logic, here we have used the post method. So we will use the same post method to save the registration data. Now we will declare an object called form under this if statement and call our registration form class instance here where the request parameter will be post, because we will save the registration data in the database. I will explain the post, get, put methods in detail later. Note that I have already imported the registration class at the top of this view file. Oh, I made a small typing mistake. It should be form, not from. Okay. Since I have declared an object of the registration form class, its name should be form. First we will validate the form and then save the data. So we used an if statement because if the form is not validated we should show some alert. Now our goal is to automatically authenticate and log in the user after the user registration is successful. If you want, you can add some other logic here. For example, after the registration is complete, you can send an OTP to the user via email or mobile as 2FA authentication. But for simplicity's sake, I will describe this complex part later. Now declare a variable called username which will basically get the username value from our registration form. And similarly we will do the same for the password. Notice here I am getting password1. You probably remember that we originally used password2 to check if it is the same as password1. But we will get password1 here to save it. Now we are declaring an object named user and passing in two values, username and password, for authentication. I believe you already understand where the username and password values come from and how they are assigned. You must remember that we imported the Django login class at the top of this view file. Now we will use that to log in this new user, where we pass the user object as a request parameter. And now we should show a message to the newly registered user. Right? So let's give a message. In this case the message could be something like this: you are successfully registered and welcome to our site. Then redirect the user to the home page. So far we have worked with if statements, now we need else statements too, right? So what should be our first task?